Have you ever seen a simple white t-shirt get transformed into this absolute explosion of color and just thought, how? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the beautiful and honestly surprisingly simple magic behind the art of tie and dye. I mean, just look at this. It's a total masterpiece of color, right? A story told in all these swirls and bursts. You see these incredible patterns everywhere, and they look so intricate, so complex. It feels like something that would take a master artist years and years to perfect. But what if I told you this secret was way simpler than you think? So that's the big question, isn't it? How does a humble little knot, or a simple fold, or just a tightly wound rubber band, how does that become the artist's brush? How does something that feels like chaos turn into a perfect design? Well, let's dive in and find out. Okay, so the answer, the whole secret weapon, is hiding right there in plain sight. It's not just about the parts of the fabric you dye, it's about the parts you don't dye. Here's the key. Tie and dye is really the art of resistance. You're creating these little barriers, protecting parts of the fabric from all that color. The areas you tie up stay white, and when you finally untie them, that's the moment of magic. That's when the hidden pattern is revealed. It's a surprise every single time. At its heart, it's really just a simple three-act play. Act 1, you fold and tie. You're basically creating the secret blueprint for your design. Act 2, you add the color, plunging the fabric into the dye. And Act 3, the grand finale, the reveal. You untie everything and finally see the incredible magic you've just made. Now, you might be thinking this whole process requires some fancy, expensive art studio, but that's what's so brilliant about tie and dye. It's unbelievably accessible. Let's take a look at the toolkit. Seriously, this is pretty much all it takes. You need a blank canvas, like a t-shirt, something to create that resistance we talked about, like rubber bands, and, of course, the dye. Add some gloves, and you've got yourself a complete artist's studio. You probably have most of this stuff at home right now. It really is art for everyone. And I absolutely love this quote from textile artist Aisha Khalid because it perfectly captures the mindset. You aren't painting with a brush here. Your tools are twists, scrunches, and folds. Every single crease you make is a potential brushstroke in your masterpiece. So, we've got our mindset, we've got our tools. How do we actually make those incredible designs? Well, let's walk through 4 foundational recipes for creating some of the most classic and beautiful patterns out there. First up, the icon, the legend itself, the spiral. This is probably the pattern that pops into your head when you think of tie-dye. And you know what? It's shockingly easy to do. All you do is pinch the middle of your fabric and just start twisting it until it forms this tight, flat circle. It looks almost exactly like a cinnamon roll. Then you wrap rubber bands around it, crisscrossing to hold it all together. And that's it. The dye will only hit the exposed edges, creating those amazing spinning arms of color. Okay, next step. If you want something a little more organic, a little more spontaneous, the marble effect is definitely your go-to. This technique can look like anything from a starry night sky to, well, marbled stone. This one is just pure freedom. You literally just scrunch the fabric up into a messy ball and then start tying off tiny little bumps all over with your rubber bands. Each one of those little ties becomes a protected dot in your final design. The more you scrunch and tie, the more detailed the pattern becomes. All right, so what if you're looking for something a bit more orderly, more geometric? Let's talk stripes. This method is all about creating clean lines and really cool rhythmic patterns. The secret here is the accordion fold. Remember making paper fans as a kid? It's the same thing. You fold the fabric back and forth on itself until you have a neat, compressed strip. Then you just wrap your rubber bands around it. The space you leave between the bands is going to determine how wide your stripes are. So simple, but so effective. And for our last recipe, we have those classic, bold, concentric circles, the bullseye patterns that really make a statement. This is so fun. You just pinch a spot on the fabric, any spot, and pull it straight up into a cone shape. Then you start wrapping rubber bands all the way down the length of that cone. Each rubber band you add creates another white ring with all that vibrant color in between. More bands equals more rings. Easy as that. So, those are the techniques. But the real magic here isn't just in the how, it's in the why. Because these folds and these colors, they're part of a much bigger story. A thread that connects us across centuries to culture and patience and community. You see, when you do this, you're learning to let go of perfect control and just embrace the unexpected. You're forced to be patient while you wait for that big reveal. And you're connecting to this massive, long history of cultural storytelling. It's a craft that teaches us that some of the most beautiful things in life come from a mix of your own intention, a little bit of surprise, and working together. And this isn't just a fun summer craft, you know? It's a global language. For centuries, from the intricate Idiri patterns in Nigeria to the vibrant Bandani dots in South Asia, people have been using these exact same techniques to tell stories, to mark celebrations, and to express who they are without ever saying a single word. So, in the end, that's the real magic. Every time you fold and tie a piece of fabric, you're not just making a cool pattern, you're embedding a story, a message of joy and identity. Which really just leaves us with one final thought. If your hands could tell a story without using any words, what story would you tell?